Good morning, Coach Jeff. It is Wednesday, May 27th, 2020, about 6:30 in the morning, and this is going to be my first in the series of my videos that basically go over my autobiography. And I'm going to just kind of start in the middle, and when stuff pops up, I'm going to just say it. I think I was thinking about I've always struggled with wanting people to like me, wanting people's acceptance, wanting to valuing other people's opinion of me more than I value myself and what I believe in. And a great example of this, which I'm really ashamed of, and it's not easy to talk about, and it just popped in my head, is when I was about 11 years old, 10 or 11, there was three people at a bus stop. It was me, my brother, and a mentally handicapped kid. Didn't really know him, just knew that he was at the bus stop, had nothing against him, he was fine, he was just different. And I believe it was my brother just wanted, for a couple weeks, just, what big brothers do, just kind of egged me on and said, hey, do you guys want to fight? And, box. My brother and I used to watch boxing when we were younger. And I liked boxing, but I never wanted to box. I never wanted to, I never wanted to hurt somebody, and I definitely didn't want somebody to hurt me. So I don't remember how long he gave us the idea and suggested it and stuff, but after a while, we kind of finally realized, like, okay, whatever. I mean, he agreed, and I said, okay, I guess so. And we ended up getting in a fight, and I just felt so guilty because I didn't want to fight him. I knew it wasn't right, because I'm not sure he, even as a 10 or 11-year-old, I thought, I don't think he's choosing this because he wants to. He wanted my brother and I to like him, and and so we ended up fighting, and neither of us won, and it wasn't like, it was just really weird. And I remember at the time, as I was doing it, just feeling so horrible and so ashamed of myself and so disappointed. And the self-talk I had was, I cannot believe you're doing this, and you're doing this because your brother wants you to. And as being a younger brother, I wanted him to like me, and even as we were fighting, I almost remember my brother, as we started fighting, almost looking like regretful. And this is 30, 35, 36 years ago, and I still remember, and I could still feel how ashamed I was that this boy only wanted to be friends, only wanted people to like him, and this is what we ended up doing. Now, luckily, he was really strong, and I definitely did not win. I would say if either one of us won, it was him. And then I remember, as a kid, feeling ashamed of that. That I'm not even a man, so now I let a mentally handicapped kid win a fight with me. And it's just, that's how I lived my childhood. That's how external I needed my support system to be, and how external I needed my self-esteem to be. Excuse me. And so that was never from my parents. That was never from, my mom and dad. And my brother, but brothers are kind of like that, I guess. But I didn't have I was intelligent. Pardon me. I had emotional intelligence. I knew that was wrong. I knew people even from a young age, and the fact that I allowed somebody's opinion of whether or not they were going to like me to base whether I was going to possibly injure somebody or get injured myself to a mentally handicapped kid who only wanted to be friends with me. And even as I say it, I'm reliving and I'm understanding and fully acknowledging how utterly sad that is and just disrespectful and the opposite of how I feel towards people. And so, um, I my family was good. I mean, my parents at this time, by this time, I believe my dad had separated from my mom, but they were still talking, and they ended up staying married and everything. So I'm not exactly sure why. It's one of those things that I would have loved to gone back and not have done that. It wasn't. I don't know if it ended up bothering him. I don't even remember whatever ended up happening to that kid. But thinking about possibility, why didn't I see him again? Why didn't he come to the bus stop? I don't know. That stuff's not clear memory wise, but the fact that what I did and why I did it was clear. The why I did that was I wanted my brother to like me, and I wanted him to be proud of me. But I was not proud myself, and I was not. So it's that you be careful what you ask for because you might get it, and that's what I wanted his acceptance, and I got it, and I didn't want it anymore. And so it didn't stop me from later in life wanting his acceptance and everything, but I do remember um, people wanted me to get into a fight. So that was no fifth grade. No. I'm sorry. That was fourth grade. And so by seventh grade or eighth grade, they wanted me to get into a fight with another one of my friends and or another person, and we did it again, and neither one. And I remember is just either as we were doing it or just after, I remember feeling sick to my stomach, the feeling I had of hitting him. And I remember it reminded me of when I was little, and I was ashamed again, and I was disappointed that I had done the exact same thing, just that he wasn't mentally handicapped, and like that somehow made it so much better. And I think the reason that pops into my head is that tells a lot of story about, for a long time, if I'm not, I don't want to say in control because that's a bad term. That's a scary, slippery slope to say control. But if I'm not the one driving the boat, and if I'm not, my why isn't what I'm following, then I'm going to do things I'm ashamed of. I'm going to do things that are completely against everything I am. And every time I did that, and every time I do that as an adult, and every time I did that even as a kid, once I was aware, it just degrades my self reliance, my self acceptance, my self worth. It just chips away at it, chips away at it. And some chunks are bigger than the others. And I think what stays with us are the big chunks. And, I don't even know if my brother would even remember that, but I do. And that's the important thing. It's not what's important to him. It's not what makes a difference in his life. It's what makes a difference in mine. And so if today you're struggling with, other people's opinions and, wanting to make people proud or happy, and happiness and pride and closeness are a byproduct of living the right way and being true to yourself. And so I strongly encourage everybody to have the self-respect and the forethought, and think past the immediacy. And that's why people end up in jails and make poor choices, because they just, at the very moment, that's what they're thinking of. And today, the thought of that makes me sick to my stomach. And I think it's a great place to start, because, like I said, that's how I lived my life for decades. And it's to me, it's very important to know, I'm not gonna beat myself up all day about it, but I'm also not gonna forget it. I'm not gonna I am capable of that. And that's the duality and the paradox of human nature. Is I'm a loving, sweet, wonderful person. I really am. And I'm also can do some horrible things. And it's important that I stay in track with my why, and in relationship with God, because for me, when I don't, I want acceptance and approval of the material world, and the material world has a lot of scary things in it. And so I hope everybody takes stock, and figures out, what do they think about themselves, and how do they want to be seen? How do they want to see themselves? Because realistically, when you see yourself away, even if other people don't agree, there's something in you that just something in me that just knows, yeah, but this is right, this is okay, and this is me. So if nobody tells you today, I care about you, make yourself proud.